Do you have too many perfumes? I know it's a hashtag first world problem. Too many perfumes, but many of us who love fragrances do collect and buy quite a lot of perfumes. This is my collection now. This is the majority of it. There are others dotted around the house, but these are the main ones. These are travel sizes and a few samples as well. So I have actually whittled my collection down from, I think I might have had about 130 at the maximum. And now I have about, I think I counted 65 full bottles, not including those that might be up for sale that I've already pulled out of my collection to do something else with, that I've decided to get rid of. So I've done a lot of decluttering, but I thought I would do this video to talk about ways that you can use up your fragrances if you feel overwhelmed by the amount that you have. Hello everyone, I am Claire, this is Smurfygurly, and I'm making a video, so yay me, well done me for making a video again. I am sort of a bit slow these days on making videos, but I think you can get the premise of the video from the little sort of introduction thing that I did showing you my collection, that this is really a video about how to use up and make the most of the perfumes that you've got. If you feel like you have too many, if you're a little bit overwhelmed by your collection, perhaps you're a bit like me or like I have been in the past, where you just keep on buying. And even though you know you don't need any more, you just have this strong impulse to buy something because maybe you've tried it and you really love it and you just have to have it, or you think you have to have it, or maybe you're a bit of a blind buyer and you hear something, you see a review and you just think that sounds like me, I need that, I need to try that, I'm gonna buy that, and we're not even sample it, and then before you know it, you've bought it, you smell it and it's all right, but it's not rocking your world like you thought maybe it would. These things happen to us weirdo fragrance collectors, and it absolutely is a hashtag first world problem. I totally get that. And if you're watching this and you don't have the budget for loads of perfume and you're thinking you arseholes, you're showing off, just know that just because someone has a lot of perfumes doesn't mean that they actually are well off. It just means that they throw their money perhaps in the wrong direction. So be budget mindful when it comes to buying fragrances, because it can really get out of hand. There are people out there who put fragrances on credit cards and get themselves into trouble, along with all sorts of spending. Spending in general is a problem for some people, for a lot of people. And especially in these times when the cost of living, certainly here in Europe, is really skyrocketing and everything, absolutely everything is going up. So yeah, tip number one then, let's start with tip number one. Tone back the buying. Is there a way you can put some steps in place? If the buying is the problem, there's absolutely no point you trying to declutter and use up the perfumes that you're overwhelmed by if you're going to keep buying. So you need to put something in place. That might be a limit on how many you buy. So for example, you could tell yourself, if I declutter 10 fragrances, then I can buy one. But there are all sorts of rules you can put into place for yourself, but you need to be able to stick to them. So there's no point saying, I'm going on a no-buy year, if you know damn well that that's going to be too hard for you. You could try a no-buy month, or you could try a low buy, where you just allow yourself one bottle of perfume a month, one every other month. You know, you can put your own rules into place. It's very specific to you, how you live, how you feel about your current collection, how your budget is, all of that. But you definitely, if you have too many perfumes, you probably do buy too many. I mean, it's a fact, unless everyone's buying them for you, of course. So that's tip number one. Now, tip number two, this one is something I've only just started doing in the last month, and it's been brilliant. And I have gone through my collection and I have found all the bottles that haven't got a lot left. And I decided to grab a selection. I think I started with 7 or 8 perfumes. They all had just a few wearings in the bottom, or maybe, you know, 10 wearings left in the bottom. And I brought them all down here and I put them over by my fireplace. And I made the decision that I'm gonna, so I keep looking out the window because there's all these distractions. It's just a bus. No, I tell you why, because I'm expecting my window cleaner today. So I don't really want him to come up to the window and see me recording a video because it's kind of weird. So that's why, but normally he just knocks the door anyway first. So yeah, so what I did was I took a big selection of fragrances. I say big, 7 or 8. And they were all perfumes that I would be happy to wear now, here, in this particular season. So that's important. If I'd have picked really heavy, rich gourmands, then I'm not really going to touch them when the weather's kind of getting a bit cloying and hot and sweaty. So I did pick things that were a little fresher and lighter. And I put them all down here. And I made the decision that I'm going to wear these mostly. And the only abstaining from that was for special occasions, or, you know, if I'm going out, I like to choose from my collection, my full collection, and wear exactly what I want to wear to make me feel confident. But if it was just day to day, running errands, you know, the usual stuff, popping out to the shops, all of that, meeting friends for lunch, those kind of things, then I stuck to my selection. And actually, I have to say, that's been a revelation, because it's made me wear fragrances that I haven't worn for a long time and kind of really got to love them again, which is counterintuitive because obviously the bottle's running out. So then I have to make a decision about rebuying or not. But I'm going to do a whole video on that because honestly, I learned quite a lot. But I'm just going to show you. So my scent of the day is actually the very last dregs of my bottle from Almond Jane, Levant. I really love this one. So yeah, I'm going to do a video on all the empties that I've managed to create and how I feel about them, whether I'll repurchase. So I'm not going to tell you at the moment if this is likely to be a repurchase, but I really do enjoy this fragrance. It's beautiful. It's my go-to for things like appointments, anything, or it's great for work. If I want to feel approachable and clean and put together and all of those things, but in a very soft and fluffy feminine way, then Levant absolutely ticks all of those boxes. Levant could be a signature scent really for anyone who wants that sort of slightly soft feel, but also like you have it together. It does both in the same job. It's a musky, sweet, floral, a little bit of vanilla in the base. I think it's got an amber note, but I'd say it smells vanilla-y a little bit, but not really like sickly sweet at all, and a little bit fresh as well. So absolutely do love Levant, but I've just used it up today. That's my empty bottle. So that's what I've been doing, and I really am. I've emptied out, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've emptied out 4 full bottles and a 10ml travel size. And this, so it's 5 full bottles, including that. And then I've got 3 more here. I won't bother showing you because I'm going to do a separate video on it. But that's what I suggest, is finding those bottles that haven't got a lot left in. Make sure they fit with your current season, that you're likely to actually wear them. And you might have to be a bit self-disciplined because you might not feel like reaching for them. But when you do, you'll actually find, you find the reasons why you love the fragrance in the first place. So it's really quite a nice little project to do. It's not really a project, but you know what I mean. And it's satisfying to empty out the bottles, I think, anyway. Let me know if you agree with that, or do you hate that? Does that give you anxiety? But I actually really like finishing the bottles and having these, and, you know, being able to get rid of these empty bottles, put some space in the collection. I know that my collection is no longer as overwhelming as it was. There's less choice. People do better with less choice. It's a fact. So what else? So another thing you can do is you can choose the fragrances from your collection that perhaps you're not really loving, you're not really reaching for, that are in the lower price bracket. So your cheaper fragrances, whether you got them cheap but they're not necessarily cheap to buy at full retail, or whether they really are cheapies, anything that you haven't spent a lot of money on and you're just not reaching for, you're not enjoying, I would place those around the house, and they can be impromptu air fresheners. So let us imagine a scenario. You're at home alone and you feel free to let out the air. To let out the air that maybe isn't quite as pleasant as you would like. And it's that particular moment that you get a visitor, someone comes to your door, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a lover, and they want to come in, maybe have a coffee or something with you. So you've got a bottle of perfume there, ready, and you just quickly run around and spray it. And now the air is fresh. It works for if you've been cooking bacon as well, although it doesn't cover up the smell of bacon, of course. But you know what I mean. It's just a great way of freshening up the house. Yes, it's a more bougie and more expensive air freshener, but why buy an air freshener when you've got all these perfumes? It doesn't really make sense because you're just spending more money and you're never going to get through. If you've got quite a lot of perfume, you're never really going to get through it all, especially if you are someone that keeps on buying. So just use them as air fresheners. Now you could also take those cheaper fragrances and you could see if there's anyone in your life that would benefit from them. So, but I mean, I get a lot of joy from giving my perfumes away. Some people don't prioritize that in their lives. They're not that into perfume. They don't mind here and there. They'll buy a cheap fragrance because they haven't got any fragrance, but they're just not that into it. And it's always nice if you give a friend, or particularly younger people who obviously have much limited budgets, and if they're in education or on the bottom rung of work. So it's really nice if you've got people like that in your life who would benefit from your fragrances and actually really enjoy, wear them out and feel bougie wearing a fragrance that you yourself wouldn't even wear because it's, in your opinion, it's just not that great. So it's really nice to give them away to friends, family, etc. And you can also, I've given perfumes to charity shops. I understand you can give them to domestic violence shelters, women's shelters, and I think you could probably even give them to food banks, because my cousin works in a food bank, and they do so much more than just providing food. From the posts that she puts on Facebook, they really do a lot to help people. So it wouldn't surprise me if they would accept fragrances as well. So if that would make you feel happy, it's really good to be able to give them away. They will get a new lease of life with someone who will actually really cherish and enjoy them. So that's such a nice thing. Another thing I do with perfume to use it up, and it's generally not the expensive stuff, it's not the stuff that I spent a lot of money on, is I use a spray to wet my hair down sometimes. So I don't wash my hair every day because it's damaging to keep washing this kind of hair. So every other day I kind of like damp it down with a water spray, and I will spray a few sprays of perfume into the water spray, give it a little shake, and then I can smell the perfume as I spray it into my hair. I don't think it particularly leaves a scent really on my hair. I might smell it while it's still damp, and that's that. But it's just another way to enjoy the fragrance because you get to smell it while you're spraying your hair and use a little bit more up. And talking of hair, another thing you could do is spray perfume into your hair product before you put it into your hair. You don't want to spray an alcoholic based perfume directly onto your hair because it can be a bit drying. You know what alcohol is. It is a drying thing. It's not great really on your skin either, but you don't want to dry out your hair. So what you can do, if like me, you use a serum or any kind of styling product, you can spray a couple of sprays into the product when it's in your hand and smooth that on. And then you've got a little bit of scent on your hair as well, which is quite nice. What else? What else? Should have prepared. I should have written some notes. But yeah, no, this is me. This is me. And you can do a similar thing with body moisturizers. If you buy an unscented body moisturizer, you can spray the perfume into the moisturizer and apply it to your body, and you get a little bit of the scent there. It's not necessarily going to last that long, but if you're going to be wearing that fragrance as well, it's just a nice little extra touch that you can do. You could also spray your clothes. I would say, generally speaking, you probably want to spray the lighter things because you don't know maybe what you're going to be wearing. Let's say you're spraying
I'm talking about spraying laundry, not the clothes that you're wearing. Obviously, you can, when you apply perfume, if it's not going to stain your clothes, you can get it onto your clothes and it will last a lot longer. But what I'm talking about is spraying laundry. So you could just like literally just spray, generally I would say something fresher and lighter, into your underwear drawer, onto your jumpers, just a light spritz, and it just keeps them fresh while they're in the drawer. Every time you open the drawer, you get that lovely scent, which is really nice. Another thing you can do is you can spray some paper and line the drawers with that, so that again you're scenting your clothes, and you're just getting that lovely fresh smell as you open up the drawers again. So a couple of things you can do there when it comes to laundry and clothing storages. Now you can buy a diffuser, a water diffuser. So it's to I think you're supposed to apply essential oils onto the top of the water, and then it steams out the scent. But you can actually spray your perfume onto the top of the water. It does a really good job. I did have one of these, but it was a bit of a novelty for me, and I just couldn't be bothered to keep using it. It was kind of like clutter in a way for me. So that was just a novelty. But if you do things like that anyway, if you burn, if you have those wax melt burners and you use them, then I would say that this is something you might use as well. And it's just another way of using up your perfume and getting to enjoy it in the house. Because the way I see it, perfume sitting in a bottle is not really doing anything. It's not achieving anything. Whereas if you actually enjoy it in your life, even if it's only a short-lived moment, it's just a moment where you smell something really lovely and it makes you feel good, I think. So that's another thing you can do. You can actually use perfume to clean glass. It's probably not quite as effective as a vinegar spray, but again, it's another way of making your house smell really lovely. If you just spot a mirror that has got a few smears on it, you can spray it with perfume and polish it up. And then you've also scented the house at the same time, or scented that room at the same time. I know this because I worked in a perfume department briefly in House of Fraser actually, and the ladies used to clean the shelves, the glass shelves, with the perfume. And it works on mirrors, it works on glass, shiny surfaces. Obviously don't spray plastic or anything that might melt, but yeah, you can actually use it to clean things because it is mostly alcohol after all. You could even use it as a hand sanitizer, but it might be a little harsh for everyday use. But if you just find yourself in a situation where you can't wash your hands, you haven't got your hand sanitizer, but you do have perfume, then that's something you could do as well. But I think we're really clutching at straws now. Yeah, that idea is terrible. Just scrap that one. Yeah, I think I might have run out of ideas. I tell you what, why don't we take this to the comment section, because I am now empty-headed, but I bet you lot have got some really good ideas. What do you do with fragrance that maybe I haven't mentioned, or maybe people wouldn't think to do, that could help you just to get through some of your bottles, if that's your goal, to empty out your bottles or to reduce your collection? Then do let me know. I mean, an obvious way to reduce your collection is to sell those perfume bottles that you're not really using. You get a little bit of money back as well. You can go on sites like eBay, Vinted, Facebook groups, all sorts, all ways, Gumtree. There are so many ways you can sell your perfume bottles if you're not using them, and if they hold the value that, you know, makes it worth your while to post it and then to list it and then to wrap it up and post it. Obviously, when it comes to the really cheap ones, you may not find it's really worth the bother. I certainly don't. For £10 or less, I'd rather give it away. But if it's got some value, then I might sell it on. In fact, I've sold on quite a few lately. I've been quite brutal, which is how I've managed to declutter. So a large part of my reducing my collection down is down to selling, but there is also these sort of 7 or 8 bottles that I'm about to empty, and then there will be a few other things happening. But I'm pretty happy now with the number that I've got in my collection, so I don't know that I'll be decluttering much more, but you never know. You never know. So that's all then. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, if you want to support me, you could always buy me a coffee. I'll put the link down in the description box. It's always appreciated. Thank you to everyone that has supported me so far. I really, really do appreciate it. And I love coffee so much. Bye.